Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be tackling lesson 1-3, absolute value equations and inequalities. Actually, specifically, today is going to be all about equations. We're going to tackle inequality part in our next video. So what we're going to hopefully do today is figure out how to solve absolute values as well as graph the solutions on a number line. So we're going to solve and graph absolute values. I guess the first part to start with that, though, is what is absolute value? So you might have remembered from the past, absolute value of 4 might be 4, the absolute value of -3 might be 3, and depending on where your knowledge lies, maybe you have always just said whatever's in parentheses, make it positive, and you have your answer. And well, to some extent, you are correct in that thinking. However, more specifically, absolute value is how far or the distance a number is from 0. So you are correct. -3 is 3 units away from 0. 4 is 4 units away from 0. So really what we're doing is seeing how far a number is from 0. Same deal. -17.3 is just 17.3 units from 0. But we can take this one step further as we start to apply it to equations and eventually solving equations. Consider, if you would, this problem. The absolute value of a number is 5. So what this question is asking for is what numbers are 5 units away from 0? Well, instinctively you might think, okay, 5. 5 is 5 units from 0. That is correct. But is there another number? And if you thought -5, you would be correct as well. It doesn't matter if we went to the left or right on that number line, we still went 5 units away from 0. So for our first example here, what numbers are 5 units away from 0? Well, we actually have 2 answers. It's 5 and -5. They are both correct, and you would need both those solutions for this problem to be considered correct. So we can go to both sides of the equal sign. That being said, same idea. Can absolute values ever be negative? Could you ever have a problem that is, this one in pink because this is a big no-no, the absolute value of x equals -2? Well, negative distances don't really make sense. If I asked you to go -2 feet to the right, that doesn't really make sense. So negative distances don't work. That's going to be a no-no. Let's try not to fall in that trap. We might see that trap come up here in just a little bit. So let's look at our first example here. We have the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 6. So we're looking for what numbers are 6 units away from 0. So again, if we're considering that number line, if 0 is in the center, what 2 numbers are 6 units from 0? Well, it's +6 and -6. Those are the 2 numbers that are 6 units away. So to solve this equation, we actually need to solve 2 equations. The first equation that we're going to solve is going to be absolute value of x plus 2 equals 6. It's what's in the absolute value equals whatever that value is there. And that second equation we're going to solve, x plus 2, same term in parentheses, but now we're going to use that negative value. We're going to use that number on the other side of the equal sign. So now we have 2 linear equations, like we have had in our prior videos, that we need to solve. So let's go ahead and give these two a solve. We're going to subtract 2 on both sides. X equals 4 on the left side. Subtract 2. X equals -8. So we have 2 solutions again. So x is -4 and -8. And if we plug those numbers in, 4 plus 2 is indeed 6. If I did -8, you can try this real quick. 4 plus 2, absolute value, is indeed 6. That is correct. And if I did -8 plus 2, absolute value, does that equal 6? Well, absolute value of -6 does equal 6, and it checks out. So if we wanted to graph this solution on a number line, like the problem asks, we're going to get our number line. We're going to find -8. We're going to find +4. And we're just going to put some dots at those 2 points. So we have solved an absolute value equation. Let's try one more. We have the equation. Now it's a little bit more complex. 2 times parentheses x minus 1 minus 5 equals +1. Now, yes, it looks more complex, but we're going to think about this absolute value kind of like we did a variable. We're going to get that absolute value term by itself first. We're going to get that absolute value term by itself first before we start manipulating the equation. So to do that, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5 to both sides of this equation. I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and that's going to leave me with 2, the absolute value of x minus 1 equals 6. Again, I want to get that absolute value by itself, so to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Once both sides divide by 2, I'm left now with an absolute value of x minus 1 equals 3. Now, like our previous problem, that absolute value is by itself, so now we can manipulate it, now we can solve it, but we're considering on a number line what 2 numbers are 3 units from 0, or the 3 units from 0. 3 and -3. So we're going to take our equation, x minus 1, and we're going to set it equal to those 2 terms to find our solution. So let us give that a go. If I say x minus 1 equals -3, x minus 1 equals +3, those are my 2 equations. If I go ahead and solve my 2 equations, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. X equals -2. And x equals 4. Those are my 2 solutions. We need them on a number line. 4, -2, put some nice big dots, but there would be our solution. I encourage you, if you need to, go back to pause, rewind, or look at any of the problems. I will encourage you to do so. Additionally, if you would like some more practice, if I can zoom a little bit, that'd be nice. I have there's some more problems in the book. Try these. I encourage you to pause the video and take a look at these problems. But I do have them worked out for us. So pause, try them yourselves, but let us actually see those correct answers, because there is a few neat things to go about. First one, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Just like our first example we did, we said that x minus 2 equal to +3, and we solved. That second problem, option B, I moved the 4 over first by adding to get the absolute value by itself. And once it's by itself, then we could solve it. Same deal, setting x plus 1 both equal to positive and -2. Option C, I subtracted that 4 over and I solved. But something interesting, when we have absolute value of x minus 3 equals 0, what only number is 0 units from 3? Well, it has to be 0. So when I solved it, I only had one equation. It's kind of a tricky one per se for that case. And then option D, last problem, I again, solving for the absolute value, getting it by itself. I moved the 3 to the right side. In doing so, I got to the equation x plus 2, absolute value, equals -2. And can absolute values ever equal a negative value? Answer to that question is no. We talked about that in the beginning. Kind of a bit of a trick. These notes will be posted. Please use them. Please give them a try. Absolute values, if you can solve linear equations, you can solve absolute values. But I hope you have a wonderful day. And please let me know if you have any questions. Take care.